Of burglaries. Tonight we're learning high-end homes in Sunfish Lake just outside St. Paul is the latest targeted community. Investigators say they're looking into at least 4 cases and that it's following a national trend of pro athletes getting ripped off.
So by now most of you have heard that the NHL, the NFL, and the NBA are being targeted as players leave on these tight schedules that are out for any and everybody to see. What they have found is that South American gangs are targeting them on purpose.
They're trying to break into the house right now. My daughter is there. This is Joe Burrow's house.
Now, the scary thing is it's not always when everyone's gone. Here recently, one of the NFL players had their daughter in their home when the burglary was taking place. Now, as most of us would expect, the FBI did send out advertisements to people telling them, you need to beef up security. But folks, the real problem isn't security. The problem is that we have allowed millions of unvetted, illegal aliens into our country, and they're only here for one thing, to get rich quick. So my name is Samantha. Welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So I live in Louisiana. You know, we have LSU and we have the Saints football team. And down here, people have a lot of money invested in memorabilia for things like LSU. Most of the doctor's offices, when you walk into the office, there are $30,000 framed, autographed pictures up on the wall for LSU. That is not uncommon. But the thing is, this is America, and people should be able to spend their money on what they want and their goods be safe.
There are plenty of warnings from the neighborhood watch to no trespassing signs. But they didn't deter whoever's behind a string of burglaries in the city of Sunfish Lake.
As you can imagine, the community is sitting on pins and needles out there.
West St. Paul Police Chief Brian Sturgeon says there have been 4 since late September, the latest just this week.
They are higher-end homes.
But these South American gangs are so good at what they do. So here's what the FBI says. Some of them are wearing what we call a ghillie suit down here in the South. They're blending in with the vegetation around your home. You wouldn't even see them, even if you were looking. They will act like they are joggers or even groundskeepers just so they can case out your property. They are studying your comings and goings. They're watching to see, do you have a home alarm? Do you have security canine trained dogs like I do, and how those animals are moving about your property? These guys mean business, but how they got caught is a little funny.
Body camera footage showing 4 Chilean nationals being questioned by authorities last month in Ohio. And in the trunk, a Louis Vuitton bag.
Where are you guys headed to today? Orlando? Wrong way. Florida's that way.
Nijinsky and Juan Villar are accused by federal prosecutors of regularly serving as fences for South American theft groups. Their Diamond District pawn shop raided Tuesday.
Well, prosecutors say the thieves made off with roughly $300,000 in luxury items, including watches, glasses, piles of cash, and Louis Vuitton luggage. The alleged gangbangers also posed wearing the NFL star's JB9 and number 9 chain necklaces.
They come here almost exclusively to commit and engage in criminality.
I feel like my privacy has been violated in more ways than one.
Prosecutors say in their search Tuesday, investigators found large quantities of suspected stolen property here at the pawn shop, as well as from a storage facility in New Jersey, where they also found sports memorabilia and power tools that are commonly used to open safes.
In September, Minnesota Timberwolves Mike Conley Jr.'s Medina home was burglarized. Another NBA player, Milwaukee Bucks Bobby Portis, sharing this surveillance video earlier this month.
But while I was at my game,
NBA players.
Mike Conley!
Minnesota Timberwolves point guard Mike Conley Jr. in September and Milwaukee Bucks forward Bobby Portis Jr. just weeks ago.
But while I was at my game yesterday, I had a home invasion and they took most of my prized possessions.
Portis taken to Instagram after capturing 2 masked men on this surveillance video breaking into his home, asking his more than 300,000 followers to listen to the robbers' voices for potential clues.
But while I was at my game yesterday, I had a home invasion and they took most of my prized possessions. If you have any info regarding this, please send the info to info@bobbyportis.com. Like I said, if you have any info regarding this, can you please send the info to info@bobbyportis.com. Any info that leads to the return of any of my belongings will be rewarded handsomely. I repeat, any info that leads to the return of any of my belongings will be rewarded handsomely. I am now offering a $40K cash reward for any information or tips that leads to the return of my stolen items.
The police chief involved in Portis's case telling WISN 12 News on Friday there are striking similarities between all 4 burglaries, adding that his department is in touch with investigators from each state and the FBI.
Obviously, it's frustrating, it's disappointing. But I can't get into too many of the details because the investigation is still ongoing.
In all 4 burglaries, no one was home. Local authorities tell us they are all investigating and would not release further information at this time.
During games this year, Dallas Mavericks all-star Luka Doncic, along with football stars Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Joe Burrow, those are just some of those who have seen tens of thousands of dollars worth of personal belongings stolen while they've been on the field. The FBI now looking at South American crime rings as possible culprits here. News Nation's Xavier Walton has more from Dallas this morning. Xavier, what's going on? And what's the FBI's message to sports stars across the country this morning?
Hey, Marky, good morning. Yeah, FBI's message twofold here. 1, remain vigilant. 2, beef up security. This is, again, to those star athletes. We're also hearing from Luka's business manager. He says Luka Doncic is thankful that nobody was home and thankful that his family ultimately is safe. But unfortunately, you just said it, Luka now joining this growing list of professional athletes that have been victimized by burglars. According to police here in Dallas, about $30,000 worth of jewelry was stolen. Not just the NBA, some of the NFL's biggest names have been hit by home burglars too. NFL stars like you see him there, right? Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, more recently too, Cincinnati's Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals, I should say, just to name a few, all have similar stories. Authorities believe, crime rings from South America are targeting athletes' homes because of the perception that they have high-end goods like jewelry, watches, or even designer bags and cash.
So this is where America is at, folks. We're in a position where it's not just the increase of 8,000% increase of moped thefts in New York City. We now have reputable businesses working with these illegal gangs, which goes to show the amount of time and effort that has been put into putting all this together. Because nobody's spending the time to case out all these athletes' homes, their schedules, their families' schedules, then breaking in, stealing all this high-end goods that you have to then pawn. You have to offload it. So how do we do that? Well, let's find out.
Creating an opportunity for businesses to prey upon these people or to team up with criminal gangs and then prey upon the rest of society.
A gang of Chilean migrants are accused of snapping brazen photos after allegedly storming Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow's $7.5 million Ohio mansion. The alleged gangbangers also posed wearing the NFL star's JB9 and number 9 chain necklaces. Burrow's girlfriend.
So these guys that were running stolen products up to the 3rd floor of this store right here, they might look like jokers from the photos they posted on social media, but they knew exactly where they were going. They knew how to get in, and this might not be the first celebrity's home they raided. However, the FBI says that stolen goods from multiple celebrity home invasions were being sold out of this particular business. The full extent to how those items got there has not yet been revealed by prosecutors. But the thing that's odd about this robbery is that these guys had no problem taking pictures and showing off with all their loot. Either this was their first time committing this sort of crime, or they'd done so many home invasions and successful raids that they figured nothing was going to happen to them and that they were invincible.
They were, until your voice was heard. Congratulations, America. We actually voted a president in who's going to take care of this problem. But here's the thing that most people on the left are not willing to admit. Both Hillary Clinton and Obama said for illegals fail to stay in America, they could not commit crimes and they had to learn to speak English.
No questions asked, they're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
A significant fine. You are going to learn English. You are going to go to the back of the line so that you don't get ahead of somebody who was in Mexico City applying legally. But after you've done these things...
And then you have Trump's executive order to revoke 600,000 Venezuelans' temporary protective status, called TPS. Now, folks, a lot of people, it makes them feel good to believe that open borders is the way to go. But I always ask this simple question. Are you locking your house when you leave it? Do you lock your phone when you set it down? And do you keep your private credit card number, your PIN numbers, all that stuff hidden from people? Of course you do. So what is the difference with us asking for people who come across the border to have adequate identification and an actual reason for coming? Trump claimed that there was a 67% drop in Venezuela of violent crimes. Now, PolitiFact tried to fact check him, and all they did was reiterate that he was correct. First off, Venezuela quit publishing and keeping statistics over 10 years ago on violent crimes in their country because, well, it was so bad. But they would admit to this. Over a 30% drop in violent crimes in 1 year between 2023 and 2024. And can anybody guess where the majority of Venezuelans have been illegally immigrating to? Come on now, because it's obvious. Venezuela, Chile, and all these other South American countries were not sending Americans, their doctors, their school teachers, their firefighters, or their upstanding citizens. They sent us their human traffickers, their drug dealers, their gang members, and their thieves. And it's time that we as America clean our country up. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think.